pass, actually, wasn't it?
Very well done, very controlled, and, you know, a very well-placed move by Dan Clark. And look at the gap now. He's managed to pull out over Justin Wilson. The gap's about 2 seconds. It's probably a little bit more this lap. So Dan Clark on a charge up to 4th now. He's still quite a bit behind Simon Pagenaud, the next guy in line, but in clean air now. He might be able to close that gap up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. He certainly pulled well away. Well, he left his braking way too late down into turn 1. He's way offline here. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, certainly. You can see that Justin Wilson's a good bit closer as they get to the exit of the corner. He's still in 4th place now, is Dan Clark, and he really needs a confidence booster. Last week in Cleveland, that was good for him. He'd really struggled in the first few races. Did no testing, of course, prior to the start of the season. His deal was only done about a week before the first race in Las Vegas. Had never even driven the car before he arrived on the streets of the entertainment capital of the world. But he certainly struggled mightily in the first few races. And meanwhile, his Minardi Team USA teammate Robert Dornbosch, a rookie to the Champ Car World Series, was doing a stellar job and finishing on the podium in 3 of his first 4 races. Dan Clark languishing in midfield at best, but a good run in Portland a couple of weeks ago, finished in 6th place. A couple of little incidents along the way. He's had a few off-track excursions this weekend, but now doing an excellent job.
So far, so good. We've got a half hour of the hour and 45 minutes logged so far, so there's still quite a long way to go. But like we said, he really did have a good race here last year, and he ended the year quite strong, and I think everybody was expecting Dan to really come out of the box strong at the beginning of this season. But like you said, Jeremy, missed all the preseason testing, and Las Vegas is really the first chance he had to get behind the wheel of the DP01. So it's taken him a little bit of time to come up to speed, but it seems like he's getting there.
He certainly is. We've got 25 laps in the books now. I think we'll be expecting scheduled pits of any time now for the race leaders. Bourdais, we hear, is going to be in 2 laps time. Power maybe in 1 lap time. There is Bourdais and Will Power, the first and second, and then behind them, the third of the cars in this train, Simon Pagenaud, is about 4.5 seconds behind the race leader. But the top, well, all of the drivers are lapping very, very close together now. A new fastest lap a couple of laps ago by Simon Pagenaud, 57.625. Bourdais' best on that lap was actually this lap by Pagenaud, 57.6. Bourdais a 57.7, and Will Power a 58.5. I was about to say, but just about everybody was within the 58-second bracket, but now they're down into the 57s, getting ready for the first round of pit stops. On board with Will Power, the 2nd place car comes off turn 8, gets right up close to that wall. Bourdais, we hear, is going in to do 1 more lap before he makes his pit stop. Same for Will Power and for Simon Pagenaud as well. So they've been trying to stretch their fuel load, go as long as they can, because you always gain an advantage if you can do an extra lap or 2 on hot tyres before you come in and change tyres and put on a fresh load of methanol fuel.
Yeah, this is the first into this race. You really have to save fuel, and it's a very unique driving style. You need to do that in order to keep up the lap time and save fuel. And Sebastian Bourdais is usually the master at that, but it looks like we're hearing on the from his crew that he might be struggling trying to match the time that they're looking for him and the fuel numbers they're asking of him. But the Team Australia cars are keeping pace, and I know Simon Pagenaud's really struggled with the whole concept of saving fuel. He's a racer. He wants to be going at it all the time, 100% on the limit. So he's learning, and he seems to be doing a good job.
So he does. He's done some fabulous work this weekend, has Simon Pagenaud. He's been quick all the way through. He out-qualified his teammates, and look at this. Will Power is going to stay out for 1 more lap. Yes, there is Sebastian Bourdais on the pit lane for Newman Haas Lanigan Racing, and Cameron Steele is in the McDonald's pit waiting for Sebastian Bourdais.
Sebastian Bourdais saying he wasn't able to hit the exact numbers he wanted to. I asked his crew just a moment ago if there would be any changes to the car. They said there won't be any changes, but Sebastian had come on the radio saying that it is slippery out there, so we'll watch to see if they're playing coy maybe just a little bit. Send it back up to you guys.
Thank you very much, Cameron. And the team does not have the luxury of short filling him like they did 2 weeks ago in Poland. He was running 5th in the early stages there. He was able to do 1 more lap than the other contenders. Plus, because of the wider pit windows, there's more of an opportunity to put in perhaps a little bit less fuel and still get to the end of the race on the minimum number of stops. That luxury not afforded to you here in Cleveland. And here is the CCWS car of Justin Wilson, also onto pit lane as Will Power leads for Team Australia.
Some cool cameras in the CW pit, but that looks like, is that Dan Clark, I think, perhaps, in, so just
and I can tell you guys, they were really hustling down here. One of the crew members pulling the gun back over the wall, took a digger and hit the dirt, and they were definitely disappointed that Robert Dornbos got out in front of them.
Bill Stevens.
Cut, brakes. You just push the button when you get out.
Primaries came off, reds went on. His teammate Pagenaud just pitted just a few moments ago. Both cars having excellent pit stops.
That was Brendan Cleve there on the left front wheel of the Team Australia car. Great stop there by Will Power, and it is a he's on the red side of the car, certainly. Yes, there he is. And they managed to do one more pit stop, and look at that. Did he get out ahead of Sebastian Bourdais? It looks like he did. So brilliant work there by Will Power and Team Australia. And it is now the after the pit stops are complete, it would appear that Will Power is in the lead of the race.
Simon Pagenaud not able to do the same. He was quite a bit further back than Will was Simon of Sebastian Bourdais, but still running in what is effectively third place.
And I fancy even then he's a little bit closer to Bourdais than he had been before that round of pit stops, because Pagenaud, of course, was in third place before that round of pit stops, and it is now he's maintained third place. There's still another couple of cars in between them as well, because Graham Rahal and Paul Tracy have both stopped earlier on. There was a flash of PT's in-depth car going out of the screen. This is the battle, though, that will be for the lead. In a couple of laps, the scoring hasn't updated. I beg your pardon. Graham Rahal is leading the race at the moment with PT in second place, but they are due for a pit stop any moment now.
First lap that Graham has led in the champ car. I'm not sure if he's managed to accomplish that yet. I know he's a bit off strategy and it's not 100% on pace, but either way, Graham Rahal's logged his first lap in the lead of a champ car in his career. So at least it'll be one talking point of this race.
And what a place to do it as well, here on home turf with a big, a lot of support here does the Rahal family have in Cleveland, Ohio. As we said earlier, his dad, Bobby, won the first race of his career here on this very racetrack. The first time we had the Grand Prix of Cleveland in 1982, and there's nothing Graham would like better than to put a name in the win column here this afternoon. And he certainly turned some very quick laps. 58.491 last time was his best lap of the race. Great onboard footage there as he comes through turns 9 and 10.
It's great form through there. Looks like the car's working well. He does have the third fastest lap time of the race so far. He just set his own personal best there. So Graham doing a great job. He's not phased by what happened early in the race when he got kind of turfed there by PT in the fourth corner. But like I said, just absolutely on a charge right now, leading this race, and seems to be very comfortable.
He does, and turning some very quick and consistent laps. You can see the crowd here all the way along that the southern side of the airport here at Burke Lakefront Airport. On the as they look across the racetrack, they look out to Lake Erie, and it's a wonderful place to watch a motor race here. You can see virtually the whole track from any one of those grandstand seats. And there's always a lot of action here on this Burke Lakefront Airport racetrack. It's one of the favourite races for the drivers because it's so open. There's just that wall there at turn 8 you talked about a little bit earlier on, James. That's really the only wall you can hit unless you try really, 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 really hard. But is it Graham Rahal? He's just foot perfect at the moment. He had that early incident, of course. It cost him a lot of time, but now he's out front and making hay while the sun shines here in Cleveland, turning some very good laps. And then when it becomes time for his first pit stop, which we anticipate in about 2 or 3 laps, I would think, maybe a little bit more than that. I'm not sure when he first made his first pit stop. He's done 24 laps since his pit, so maybe 3 or 4 laps he might be able to stretch it. There is Paul Tracy in second place, about 3.5 seconds behind our race leader Graham Rahal. Then a gap of about 6.7 seconds back to Will Power in third place. So if we look at the gap back from Graham Rahal, he's going to lose about 40 seconds by making that pit stop and taking on fuel. He's going to come out maybe somewhere around the bottom end of the top 10, but I think Graham has been able to, he's slightly off strategy with the rest of these guys. I think there's no doubt, because he'll be making 4 pit stops for the day, he can just go hammer and tongs, put the foot down. He does not have to worry about saving fuel, I believe.
No, you're absolutely right, Jeremy. He'll be able to go 100% this entire race distance, and as a driver, he'll be glad he's got the opportunity to do that. And then also from a strategy point of view, that could work out in his favor later in this race if a few guys are close on fuel, as Tristan Gommendy comes into the pits for PKV Racing. Down to Bill Stevens calling the stop.
They have a split fuel strategy down here for Neil Johnny and Tristan Gommendy. Gommendy stayed out a little bit longer than Johnny. He's coming in now to top off the fuel, and they're going to try to play one strategy against another today. Right now, Gommendy was in 6th before he came in.
Thanks, Bill. So, yeah, Tristan Gommendy for the PKV Racing team. He rejoined around about, 14th place, I would think, by the time he comes back out on track. There is our early race leader, Sebastian Bourdais. For once, he did not go more laps than anybody else before making his first pit stop. Will Power, a very quick learner. Will Power, in just his second full season of the Champ Car World Series, able to stretch that fuel load 1 lap longer than our erstwhile leader, Sebastian Bourdais, and he gets himself out. And in another lap or two, this is Graham Rahal making his second pit stop of the day. Paul Tracy will stay out 1 more lap. Cameron Steele is in the Newman House Lanigan pit.
All right, well, Graham Rahal, who has just led his first ever laps at Champ Car, you see him taking a turn out of the front wing. Said he wanted a little bit of adjustment to the car, and he got it. Other than that, John Tzanikis says he is very happy with the way the car is performing.
John Tzanikis, TZ as he's been known, he's been with his team since it started back in 1983, and he's a great guy. He had so much continuity in that Newman House Lanigan team. Look at that, Graham Rahal gets him back out there just behind Justin Wilson, isn't it? And Justin Wilson is shown in 7th place right now, and it's a great first stop and a great stint there by Graham Rahal.
Now what's interesting is the pit out here at Cleveland is actually a wider, faster corner than the first corner. Look, does that red sidewall Bridgestones on the front and black sidewall Bridgestones on the rear of that track?
We're supposed to do that. Here is
yet another pit stop for Paul Tracy. They are changing the tires once again, topping off the fuel. However, this time they're not having to change the bodywork on the car.
Yeah, that's a welcome change for the Forsyth Championship Racing team. Steve Moore and the guys will be thrilled that he just had to change the tires and put in the fuel, and there goes PT. But he's been running a very good pace as PT. He's making up for those early errors, and now he's beginning to move back up the pack. We'll see where he rejoins.
It's like I was saying, this pit out is actually a lot wider, and sometimes you can get a great run on a guy who's already gone through the first corner and get him into corner 3, which they never like it when you do that, Jeremy. But Graham Rahal wasn't quite close enough to do that to Justin Wilson. And of course, PT's come out here on his own. Oh, big accident. Tristan Gommendy and Jan Halen involved.
They have got together. I think that might have been the exit of the turn 9 and 10 chicane. But what you see a lot of damage there to Jan Halen's car. The rear end completely torn off the car. Tristan Gommendy in the background. The pay-by-touch car, the Mega Spiera car, also involved. And that's a great shame for those who have been battling for 13th, ironically, and 14th place. Unlucky for some, certainly for these two, as the Holmatru safety team is onto the scene already. Both drivers have their visors up, and just have a look, try and see what happened. They're coming through the corner.
Oh, that was a big accident. That is a fast part of the racetrack. That chicane there, the 910 chicane, you called it right, Jeremy, is about 135 miles an hour through there. And
here we go. Look at that. Gommendy just got a wiggle on there. He ran over the exit of the curb. He lost control. Poor Jan Halen.
That is just one of those racing deals. You know, it's a tricky chicane. You see a lot of guys cut it there, but Jan Halen, complete victim there.
Great shame for Jan. He'd made his pit stop 1 lap before Tristan Gommendy. Gommendy just come out of the pits on that lap, I believe it was. And Gommendy on cold tires, one has to presume, just lost control in the middle of that corner, went barreling across the grass. Let's have one more look at it here. You can see it's Gommendy leading there, and then Halen behind him, and then Oriol Servier behind those two.
So he cuts across the grass there, misses the second part of the corner, and you can see that's where he went off there. And as he's coming through, he's sideways right now, and as what happens is the rear end grips, and he's got the wheel turned to the right, and when the front end grips, it just spins him right around, and it was just one of those situations, wrong place at the wrong time. Half a second earlier, half a second later, Jan would have been clear of the incident. Just bad timing.
And that seems to sum up the season for Conquest Racing. Boy, they've had bad luck this season. They started off the year, of course, with Matt Halliday, a very talented young Kiwi driver. He had no luck at all in the first 3 races of the season. Jan Halen stepped in last week, did a great job, and ran out of fuel on the final lap.
Down here with 2 very interested witnesses to what just happened to Tristan Gommendy, first team owner, and a gentleman who you know very well down here, Kevin Kalkoven. Your view of what just happened, Kevin?
Well, to be honest, I really don't know, because I'm just reviewing it on television. It looks like Tristan came in a little bit fast. I just don't know.
Jimmy, from your angle, did Tristan make a rookie mistake?
Well, I mean, he was pressured from behind. We were racing for position, and he just come out of the pits. The tires weren't up to full temperature and pressure yet. And I know he was pushing to, stay in front. So, those things are going to happen. But he's been doing a good job. And, I think on the upside, the pay-by-touch BKV car was voted the prettiest car out here, at least before the start of the race.